growth of technology comes an unending struggle of law to keep pace with technological developments and disruptions. This seems to be particularly true of the business space as the fourth industrial revolution continues to emerge and the world tries to grapple with the economic realities of the COVID-19 pandemic. The 2021 Nigerian Bar Association Annual Business Law Conference has been organized to address this subject matter. And joining us now to provide some direction is Adeleke Alex-Adedipe, who is the chairman of the 2021 Annual Business Law Conference, and Rotimi Ogunyemi, an ICT lawyer. Both are present with us, and you're present in the studio. Thanks, and thank you for joining us on this very interesting topic.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Okay, so first off, I would say that law and business seem to be organic bedfellows when you hear about them. But what has your annual conference yielded so far in terms of identifying bottlenecks and providing solutions? And what does your perspective of this fourth revolution look like?
All right, thank you very much. Again, thank you very much for having me. The NBA-SBL is a section under the Nigerian Bar Association set up to assist and help lawyers in terms of their commercial growth and in terms of their professional commercial growth. And this in itself is majorly to assist commercial lawyers and lawyers to understand how they can leverage within the community of the section and see how they can assist each other and help themselves. Also in terms of learning, continuing legal education, and many other benefits that are available under the section.
Interesting. Well, let's bring in Rotimi Ogunyemi into the conversation. You are a lawyer, an ICT lawyer. Now, the race to regulate is on wherever you turn to in the world. Big techs are locking horns with governments. Can the law keep up with technology innovation in Nigeria? Are the extant laws redundant? And how often do we have to make new laws to keep up with technology?
Great question, and thank you for having me. So indeed, it's no news that technology would always run ahead of the law, and technology would always be light years ahead of the law. However, the law can be proactive. The law can also look into the future and ensure that there is an enabling environment for technology to thrive. And that's what this conference is about, speaking to the issues at the intersection of law, business, and technology. Understanding that there must be an enabling environment for businesses that will use this emerging technology. And these technologies are not new to us, but the regulatory environment must be conducive. And so the law will always run to catch up, but the law can be proactive. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe that's a good place to then turn that question to you. He speaks of an enabling environment rather than locking horns with with technology. So give us an idea of what that looks like. You know, we've seen the recent Twitter suspension. Show us where the law comes in to pave the way for smoother relationships.
I think without saying too much, I would say that one of the things that we intend to achieve at this forthcoming conference is to bring regulators into the room together with business practitioners, together with some of these techpreneurs, and we can have conversations. Some of those conversations are the conversations we take back to the regulators and we say to them, this is the way forward. We think that we can make a sustainable business environment using these methods. And the idea is just to continue to collaborate. And that's the only way that we believe as lawyers and under the section of business law that we can actually help bring everybody together. And that's what the conference has done time immemorial. Every year, it's an annual conference. And to bring this back home a little bit, is to say to you that for the first time in the history of the section, we're actually having a hybrid conference. We are going to have people from far and wide all over the world having the opportunity to join and view and have a play in this conversation. So everybody would have a say in our conversation. And we also have people sitting in a hall in a room in Victoria Island who would have the opportunity also to physically be able to mingle. And I think that, again, is the fact that technology has come to be with us, and technology is giving us the best of both worlds.
Let me stay with you. Do you think that our social media space, the technology space, is unregulated enough or unregulated at all? And I'm asking in line again with what has happened with Twitter ban. And of course, we've seen the dangers of unregulated technology with data privacy issues, threats to democracy, even in the United States. Do you think in Nigeria here, our space is unregulated enough?
I don't think it's unregulated enough. I think there's some regulation, right? But again, like Rotimi mentioned, the space of technology is fast moving. The world is in a fast motion, right? And sometimes you need the regulation to a bit slow it down. It's like a slow motion. I think that we can always improve on the laws that we have. I don't think that we are unregulated. I think we are regulated, but we can do more. And those laws are not to stifle people from free speech, stifle people from businesses, right? And again, I'll bring this back home. We're going to have a lot of this conversation at the conference next week. And again, some of the conversation we're having is around financial inclusion, is around alternative currency, which again speaks to crypto and all of those things. So the conference is designed and built in such a way that it would impact not only lawyers, but every business person, including yourself and everybody watching.
Okay, let me turn this to you, Rotimi. It seems the guest in the studio is reading my mind. I wanted to talk on financial inclusion, and also now I can tag on cryptocurrency. We find that a lot of people who are thriving, recently this day did a spread on the youths who are thriving in the technological space, included maybe the CEO of Flutter and PiggyVest. So how are you specifically playing to that crowd, that particular sector, to draw them in and make a more business-friendly environment for them to thrive?
Great question again, and let me quickly say straight up that the two individuals you mentioned will actually sit on a panel at the conference to speak to this issue of financial inclusion. We understand that technology has disrupted the payment space, the settlement space, and we know that the regulators are doing their very best to ensure that it does not become a wild, wild west. So what we must do is to strike the balance, and that's why this conference is set up, to ensure that these conversations are ongoing, and so we don't lean in either extremes. We ought to strike the balance. So let's take alternative currencies as an example. We are actually talking about the disruption of money here, and this will never be an easy topic, all right? But the reality is technology.
We seem to have lost connection with Mr. Rotimi Okunyemi there, but let's bring it back to the studio. And just to go back to your conference, because you seem to be talking about your conference a lot. Should I come to your conference, what will I be taking away with me? What would I have gained?
Everything.
Coming to your conference.
Everything. And when I say everything, I mean every word
Everything
of it.
is relative.
Everything, because, and sorry, she just asked a question. She mentioned PiggyVest, she mentioned Flutterwave, and these are people that we already have on panels. For the first time in the history of the SBL conference, which is an annual event, we are having a female keynote speaker, Dr. Wendy Okolo. And we are having, she's also, interestingly, the youngest speaker that we've had. So that also speaks to the fact that the young people have a role to play in the business world today. And we've recognized that fact. We have a huge number of people to unpack some of this huge conversation, topical conversation at the conference on Wednesday and Thursday next week. In terms of what you would be getting, you will be getting, you would have to listen, you have opportunity to listen to people speak on e-governance. You have people